If I could have you all take your seats, we'll start the service. I've got a gavel. I will use it. Lisa gave me a gavel. I love this. They're taking this away from me at the end of the service, so I can only use it for a little bit more. Well, good morning, all of you, and thank you for joining us this morning. I'm Corey Winton. I'm the president of the Alumni Board, and it has been an amazing privilege to work with our Alumni Board members over the past few years. So before we get started, if anyone in the audience has ever served on the Alumni Board, will you please stand so we can recognize and thank you? Thank you all. Thank you. So thank you for joining us this morning for the University Update. Just so you are all aware, you are a member of a vibrant community of more than 23,000 alumni spread across 80 countries and in every corner of our nation, of the whole globe. Before we get started, I just want to take a brief moment to share that 5 years ago, Lisa Harper called and asked if I would join the Alumni Board. And if you can take a moment and remember what the world was like 5 years ago. We were locked in our homes. It was a challenging situation across the globe. Personally, we had just had a new baby who was not sleeping, and it was very challenging. And I was in the process of losing my mom. And it was a very tough season of life. And when she called and asked me if I would join the Alumni Board, I had to think for a long time whether or not I could say yes, because Asbury was such a special and meaningful place to me. It was a transformational time in my life. I grew to know the Lord and grew as a person while I was here. And to be honest, I was scared to come back and to find that the place that I loved in my memories was not the place that it was anymore. And I thought for a long time about whether or not I could take that loss. And eventually I said yes, and I came back. And friends, I am so glad that I did. It has been such a blessing to be here, to meet Dr. Brown and work alongside of him, to see the faculty and staff at Asbury and see that the mission and the core of Asbury University is the place that made me who I am back in 2004. And it has been amazing to be here and to be a part of this and to lean in any way that I could. So this morning we will hear from Dr. Brown, our university president, and Dr. Mark Troyer, VP of Institutional Advancement and Strategic Partnerships. They will be giving us hairstyling tips at the end of their talks. Each year, Asbury recognizes and awards banner year. That was not in my script. I don't know if you guys knew that. Asbury recognizes and awards banner year alumni who exemplify lifelong learning, service, and leadership within the framework of our faith heritage. This is one of the most challenging decisions we, the Alumni Board, make because there are so many incredible people that we could award. But as we prepare to acknowledge them, would you please welcome Asbury's president, Dr. Kevin Brown, to the stage.
Good morning. This morning, I want to publicly recognize the incredible alumni who exemplify Asbury's motto of academic excellence and spiritual vitality and our mission of lifelong learning, leadership, and service to the professions, society, the family, and the church. Each year, we present awards from the following categories: the A Award, the Distinguished Young Alumni Award, and the Volunteer of the Year Award. The banner year alumni chosen to receive an award this morning have advanced the cause of Christ around the world using their God-given gifts and talents. So first, we will talk about the A Award. The A Award is our highest alumni honor, given annually since 1946 to select alumni who have achieved professional distinction in their field of calling and demonstrated loyalty to Asbury and her mission. Today, we add 3 recipients to this elite group of Asburyans. From the Conquer class of 1965, we celebrate A Award recipient, Reverend Howard Bidoff. Howard, thank you for your lifelong ministry to advance the gospel and for your faithful witness through education, advocacy, ministry, and leadership in the church, family, and community. Using the tools of teaching and ministry, you've advanced the cause of Christ around the world. We recognize your call to missions at Asbury and celebrate your obedience to fulfill this calling in person and online, internationally and domestically. As a career missionary, you served overseas in Colombia and then stateside, bringing that wisdom, deep love of people, and experience to guide and mentor future missionaries. Thank you for training leaders and pastors, investing in the church, mentoring future missionaries at Asbury Theological Seminary, as well as students at our beloved Asbury University. Through your service as the 1965 class president, attending your grandchildren's AU games, and your service to the university and the Wilmore community through the outpouring, you demonstrate your loyalty to Asbury and the mission of lifelong learning, leadership, and service. Howard, for your steadfast service and lifelong learning, we recognize you as one of our distinguished A Award recipients for 2025. From the Valiant class of 1970, we celebrate A Award recipient, Dr. Steve Siemens. Steve, you have been a faithful ambassador for Christ and a strong proponent of the Wesleyan holiness doctrine. Your teaching ministry, speaking engagements, books and articles, and service on ministry boards have provided a clear invitation for thousands of people to hear and respond to the invitation to live a saved, sanctified, and sent life for God. Your relationship with Jesus impacts every part of your life. You live out Proverbs 27:7. As iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another, making those around you better disciples and followers of Christ. Your passion for spiritual awakening leads you to continue to invest in those around you, and especially in this generation of young people. As a professor of Christian doctrine at Asbury Theological Seminary, you help equip the future of the church through a Trinitarian understanding of ministry, of Jesus to the Father through the Holy Spirit. You bring hope to the hopeless, courage for the fearful, and healing for the hurt because of your deep and abiding love of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Steve, for steadfast service and lifelong learning, we recognize you as one of our distinguished A Award recipients for 2025. From the Panther class of 1975, we celebrate A Award recipient Mrs. Patty Snelling Howard. Patty, you have demonstrated lifelong service to the profession, society, family, and the church through your faithful service as a coach, teacher, wife, mother, and grandmother. Your 35 years of teaching and coaching in Indiana's public school system have led many into a relationship with Jesus. The public school was your mission field. Your dedication to spreading the good news through FCA, the world's largest international sports ministry, to any school where you have taught has been a life-changing investment in the next generation. In 2022, FCA inducted you into their Hall of Champions, honoring those who have demonstrated a consistent commitment to Jesus Christ through their integrity, service, teamwork, and excellence. You are seeing the fruits of this investment from generation to generation as students in your program become leaders and the cycle continues. What a testament to your love for students and the dedication to Christ. Your friends describe you as a disciplined, winsome, dedicated, energetic, and authentically sold out to Christ follower. You use the gifts and talents God has given you to share His great love with others. Patty, for your steadfast service and lifelong learning, we recognize you as one of our distinguished A Award recipients for 2025. This year, we had a Young Alumni Award who could not be with us, but we have 2 Volunteer of the Year recipients that we want to recognize. From the Crusaders class of 1979, Mr. Ken Banter, and from the Pioneer class of 1976, Mrs. Mary Jean McKenzie Banter. You have faithfully served Asbury University by humbly investing in our students and alumni. Through your deep investment with the Indian Springs Camp Meeting, you host our largest alumni gathering outside of reunion, the Asbury Day Alumni Gathering, giving past, present, and future Asburyans the opportunity to gather annually in fellowship together. Ken's service on the President's National Advisory Council for the School of Education has been instrumental in enhancing and refining our academic programs. Mary Jean, a former alumni board member, has provided alumni with the joy of gathering and praying for alumni, students, and staff within our community through the Pioneer Class's monthly prayer meetings. Always the first to arrive and the last to leave, your love of people and service to others is contagious and appreciated. You've raised wonderful children who are deeply rooted in Christ, leading and serving in education, ministry, and law. We are most grateful for your daughter, Jeannie, who is a spiritual leader on our campus. We thank you for your steadfast leadership, your love for students and alumni, your hospitality, and your unwavering faith. Today, we recognize you as our Volunteers of the Year. And I do just want to briefly say, with the Distinguished Young Alum Award, this award category was created in the year 2000 to acknowledge alumni under 40 who are emerging as influential leaders in their area of expertise. This year, we had 2 young alumni we wanted to recognize from the unashamed class of 2010, Will and Laura Salee. Now, the Salees are unable to attend, but you will hear more from them later. Please join me again in congratulating our recipients.
Good morning. Thank you for being here this morning. Corey forgets I get the mic. I'm Mark Troyer. I'm our Vice President for Advancement, a role I've held the last 8 years of my 35 at Asbury. I want to again congratulate our award winners and Volunteers of the Year. We really rise on the reputation and the prayers of our alums, so thank you all for being here. I have the enviable job to give you some pretty cool, quick updates. But to keep you awake, I'm going to do it a little differently. We've tried this a couple places, and I wasn't booed off the stage. So we are going to do a little trivia game, okay? Now, this is also going to test your integrity because we're not handing out cards for you to write things down. So you have to use your brains. But I'm going to give you 8 questions, and I'm going to give you about 5 seconds to make a decision in your head and see if you can guess these, okay? And whoever gets all 8 gets bragging rights for the weekend, and we will give you an all-expense-paid trip to Hawaii and all kinds of things like that, I'm sure. Talk to Lisa, who's on her way out. So question number 1. Are you ready for this? Got it in your head? Question number 1, and you should have the... Oh, yeah, way to go in the back. We're good. What was Asbury's total enrollment fall of 2024? This past fall? Was it 1890, 1956, or 2090? No, don't yell it out. Don't yell it out. Remember, we're going to see who gets the most, okay? So keep it in your head. Everybody have it in your head, what you think it is. All right? Raise your hand if you have an answer in your head. Put your hand down if you didn't pick C. All right, anybody got C? All right, you're good. All right. Join us in celebrating the largest enrollment in our history, over 2,000 students. And this spring, we had one of the strongest retention rates we've ever had. So we had 423 new students last fall. We had 305 in our graduate program and over 300 students in our academy program, dual enrollment. Asbury continues to be a vibrant campus, rich and in focusing on the whole student, mind, body, and spirit. Question number 2. Some of you are already out, right? Some of you are in. All right, here we go. How many books have been written on the outpouring that we know of? 3, 6, or 12? Don't say it out loud. Everybody got an answer in your head? When in doubt, pick B. This spring, how many got B? Good, very good. This spring, and this is what that we know of. This spring marked the 2nd anniversary of the outpouring, and the ripple effects are still being felt around the world. In fact, 6 books, videos, YouTubes, you can find them everywhere. During that spontaneous revival or awakening, we hosted, we think, about 50,000 people in this little town. 200 million views with the hashtag Asbury Revival were viewed during that period. We had visitors from more than 280 colleges around the country and around the world, representing, we think, 39 states. Since then, witness teams from Asbury have traveled to 20 different conferences, 18 states, 15 different countries, still talking about what God is doing here. Dr. Brown and others got to attend the Luzon Conference in 2024 on world evangelism, and the first few sessions were all talking about the Asbury Revival at Luzon. So there is still an elevated spiritual temperature on this campus, and worship continues in chapel and spontaneously. So continue to pray for us as we continue to celebrate what God has done. All right, question 3. Who is the dean of the new School of Christian Studies? Is it Brian Shelton, Sarah Baldwin, or Victor Hamilton? All right, everybody got an answer in your head? Brian Shelton. All right, raise your hand if you got that one right. All right. Brian Shelton, we moved from a department to a school, and they are working on some incredibly innovative programs that I'm sure he'd love to tell you about while you're here. All right, I'm going to keep going. Question number 4. Asbury announced which new major starting this fall? Bachelor of Nursing, Masters of Art and Ministry Innovation, or Master of Science in Athletic Training? Bachelor of Science in Nursing, Master of Arts and Ministry Innovation, Master of Science in Athletic Training. Everybody have an answer in their head? If you answered A, B, or C, you are correct. This was a trick question. We have rolled all of those out. See, I got to keep you hopping here. Lots of new and innovative programs at Asbury, including others like computer science, engineering, math, Master of Science in Accounting, screenwriting, sports communication, an MBA with a concentration in sports management. Great things. Over the past 25 years, we've prepared students for the nursing profession specifically by sending them somewhere else to finish. This fall, we are partnering with CHI Health for our clinicals, and we will be offering our own BSN, which is a great missions fit. Over the last 4 years, we've had 7,000 people, prospective students, asking us if we had nursing, and we had to say no. Now we can say yes. We're excited about that. We are currently raising funds, about $4.5 million, to completely renovate the second floor of Hammond Ray, put in high-tech equipment, labs, simulation, you don't call them dummies anymore, simulation recessa annies, which is what it was when I got my CPR. But we need to have all of those in place by the spring of 27. So pray with us if you want to talk to any of us about that. Find a gift officer or myself. All right, question. Anybody have all 4 so far? Oh yeah, we still got some people in. All right, question 5. Team AU launched which intercollegiate sport this last academic year? Track and field, synchronized swimming, or pickleball? Everybody got one in your head? You laugh. We'll see if you're right. The answer is not pickleball. It is not pickleball. I know some of you wanted that. We do have pickleball. It's just not an intercollegiate sport. Track and field. Men's and women's track and field actually competed in phase 1 of our new stadium, and we had students actually go to nationals the first year, which is just great. So we're excited about where that program goes. Athletics has actually moved to NCAA Division III, joined the Collegiate Conference of the South, and they've already had great success, and I think the Collegiate Conference of the South is going, why did we let them in? Because we've already won some conference championships. Question number 6. Our media communication program recently learned that Asburyans had been awarded what awards? A National Screenwriting Award, the Walt Disney Legacy Award, or National Emmys? Which of these 3 awards were recently Asburyans won? All right, everybody got something in your head? Some of you aren't really doing this. I can read your minds. The answer is C, National Emmys. We learned just last week that Asbury University alumni Rosie Gary, Kevin Maldonado, and D.T. Sloffman earned national recognition by winning Emmys for their contribution to the coverage of the Olympic Games in Paris. That's a big deal. We have won regional Emmys before. This is one of the first national Emmys, and to have 3 of our graduates win is pretty big. More than 110 students and alumni were in paid positions to help broadcast the Olympics in Paris. And Jim Owens and the team are preparing for the Winter Olympics in Italy even now. Jim's been back and forth to Italy. Also, this is pretty cool. Through the generosity of some donors, we installed a new 16 by 9 foot LED wall that has been installed in our journalism studio. And we've upgraded an audio production lab to an immersive audio with 12 speakers, which is the same system used to create the sound for Top Gun. Additionally, we dedicated a new animation lab this spring that will advance our students' ability to learn animation and gaming. So there's great stuff going on still in media. All right, 2 more questions. How many Asbury-trained police horses, some of you didn't even know we did that, are currently serving in North America? 10, 100, or 1,000? How many Asbury-trained police horses are serving currently in North America? The answer is B, 100. 100 horses. There's actually a 3-year waiting list for police departments to get our trained police horses, our police program. Harold Rainwater has retired and left a legacy with us. He's still involved, but Asbury has trained police horses, and if you watch the Kentucky Derby, all of the police horses at the Kentucky Derby were Asbury-trained police horses. So it's pretty cool. All right. Anybody still got all of them so far? Man, we got about 5 or 6. Okay, here's the deal breaker right here. Last question. What is the value of the capital construction projects recently dedicated? And I would say recently in the last 2 or 3 years. Is it $10 million, $25 million, or $50 million worth of projects? The answer is C. We are Hawaii. Steve and a few friends are going to Hawaii. If you haven't been to campus for a while and you've been walking around, you might have gotten lost. The Shaw Collaborative Learning Center has been dedicated, the Raider Student Center revitalization, the Bayless Equine Arena is an additional arena out at the farm, which actually was paid for by an estate gift of an orange grove in Florida, believe it or not. So we might have one of the only arenas paid by oranges in Kentucky. The Libass Garden Plaza up by the baseball and softball fields, the outdoor patio, We've just added all kinds of great spaces for our students. This last summer during reunion, last year, we dedicated the Glide Crawford Parlor. If you haven't seen that, it's beautiful. And we also rededicated the Donaldson Choir Room, named after Don Donaldson. So it's a great space for our students to practice in. Also this last summer, the athletics converted spaces in the Luce Center into new locker rooms for men's and women's soccer and women's volleyball. And of course, the biggest ongoing project that we've had recently that we will be dedicating tonight at 7:30, don't miss it, is our $13+ million outdoor venue that will be named in honor of Sandy Gray and Ken. Phase 1 was a turf track and field that we completed last fall and our students got to use. Phase 2 construction is about done, and it includes 2 buildings with locker rooms, bathrooms, meeting room, concession area, training room, and some other really cool spaces. Don't miss the dedication again tonight, where we will honor Dr. Gray and Ken and the naming of the venue. We're also excited to be naming a seating area in honor of Rita Pritchett and honoring a number of others with named spaces in that venue. Now, we had a few. How many really did get all of them? Steve, I see 2, 3. All right, good. Bragging rights for the whole weekend. Now, let me reintroduce Dr. Kevin Brown, who I have the privilege of serving with and driving all over the country with. I've been introducing him lately as the only Asbury president who's presided over a world pandemic and a spiritual revival. That metaphor is in sickness and in health. Welcome, Dr. Kevin Brown.
So each reunion, they have a president's update, and I wanted to do something a little bit different for you all. I wanted to show you a year in images. And so I take a lot of pictures. I have a unique vantage point as a function of my job, and so I just want to share some of those images with you. Let me say, this will not be the most articulate presentation that you hear this weekend, but I just hope to give you a bit of a glimpse of some of the things that I have the privilege of enjoying on our campus, and hopefully that serves as a good update for you. So again, a year in images. The very first thing I want to share is an image of the visionary class of 2020. And if you're here from the 2020 class, thank you for being here. My stomach turns when I think about that class and their lost opportunity to have a commencement ceremony where they could be appropriately celebrated for all of their accomplishments at Asbury. So 2020 class, if any of you are in here, I know that a reunion is not the same thing as a commencement, but I'm thrilled that you're here and wish you the best. You have a special place in my heart. Let me show some images of our staff and faculty, and I'll have to go through these pretty quickly. My wife was like, you have too many slides, and I think she might be right. Dr. David Garrison, he will tell you that the faculty are the front line of the mission for a Christian university, and I think he is correct. Here are just a few images. Will Schaefer, and this was actually the chapel February 6th, 2023, the chapel before our outpouring chapel, but Will studies light, among other things, so that was a fascinating chapel. Ben McLaughlin doing some math lessons outside here. Jim Shores, Carol Anderson, they perform oftentimes for our community in chapel at Eagle Days. They're brilliant. This is Dr. Brian Shelton, who's sharing. And then this was a retirement dinner that we had for some of our faculty. We've done something on campus over the last couple of years where we have had just staff and faculty worship events. These have been so rich. And one of the things that has been rich about this is being able to hear from men and women from across campus and hearing their testimonies, hearing them share. I've been very blessed by this time. I love faculty who get out of their office, like Dr. Nathan Miller playing a little banjo outside for students. Sarah Baldwin has been doing a podcast on the outpouring. It's outstanding if you haven't listened to it. This is Dr. Brian Hull in the upper right-hand corner sharing with our Board of Trustees. And Dr. Sherry Powers, our provost, organized an AI colloquium in conjunction with Asbury Theological Seminary last fall. We're going to do another one of those this fall. Super interesting to hear really thoughtful men and women think about artificial intelligence and how do we faithfully navigate that. And so this is Dr. Lisa Jones talking about that. Here's a picture of our Team AU coaches and staff. And I like to say, Asbury, we're in the business of formation. And our athletic staff and coaches play a significant role in that vision. They do mission trips, Bible studies, baptisms, and there are just so many incredible stories that come out of athletics. We love to travel. I heard someone say once at a university, they said, we're going to do everything we can to get your son or daughter on our campus, and once they're here, we're going to do everything we can to kick them off again. I like that thought. So here are some pictures of some travel. These are some folks in Italy. The upper right-hand corner, that is in Lausanne last year. That was amazing. I could also talk about trips to London, Paris, Puerto Rico, Australia, Thailand, and the Galapagos Islands. Our staff and faculty facilitate these trips with regularity. A couple of years ago, our students launched a podcast. It's called This is Asbury. Please listen to it. You will be very blessed. It really is the best of the men and women who work here, as well as visitors that we have come to campus. And so here are some images of some folks on campus and them sharing. Again, it's really wonderful. Let me talk about a few things we're celebrating. Dr. Troyer mentioned some of these. We will celebrate tonight the outdoor venue. This was Mark's team. They had a special luncheon where they could celebrate. They did an amazing job. Our advancement team is just simply incredible. This is the second largest capital project in Asbury history, $13.5 million pledged and raised. So we are really thrilled to celebrate that tonight, the Gray Outdoor Venue. Super thrilled for the nursing program, as mentioned. This had to go through the Kentucky Board of Nursing, Kentucky Council on Post-Secondary Education, and then our regional accreditor, SAC-COC. A ton of work, a ton of hours by a lot of people. But I'm thrilled that we're going to be hosting this program, and we're recruiting students this fall. As mentioned, we are an official active member of the NCAA. We're no longer in our probationary period. The Collegiate Conference of the South. This is a picture of Manny Dutt. He was the first NCCAA national champion for track and field coming out of Asbury University, running the 400 meters this year. That was exciting. For those who are in higher ed, you know this is a big deal. We passed our 5-year interim review by our accreditor, SAC-COC, with no findings and even no commentary. So that was great. I have said Sherry is just a master class in leadership, and it is a blessing working with her. We are celebrating the largest class, total number of students, over 2,000 this last year, and retaining them at record levels. Students come and they want to be here. We praise the Lord for that. I love that we celebrate service on our campus. I have a lot more images. This is one of our students who was going to Paintsville, Kentucky after they had some flooding. And on the right-hand side, this is Michelle Kratzer in our Catalyst Center. And every year they do the Roy Lauder Servant Leadership Award, where we recognize 4 of our students for exemplary service. I love that we're an institution that celebrates service. We also celebrate student academic success, student creativity in art exhibits, plays, and musicals, and student excellence in athletics. We also celebrate people. This spring, we dedicated the Asbury Trails to Larry Olson for his tireless work to make those trails updated, usable, and hospitable to guests. We celebrate faculty and staff retirements each year, excellent work done well over many years. Celebrate those who have been with us and who leave. We don't celebrate that they leave. We celebrate their service to us. Most recently, Lainey Thomas worked in the president's office, and now we're thrilled to have an Asbury alumnus, Julie, with us. I hope you get the chance to meet her. Stan Wiggum was celebrated for his contributions to our tumbling team this year. And every year, we celebrate years of service for our staff and faculty. You can see in the bottom right-hand corner, men and women who have been here for a long period of time. And we like to have a little fun along the way. All right, this wasn't this last year, but since Kaylin Moran Lindsay is speaking here in a bit, this was Halloween where she decided to dress as the president. You see the bald cap. Jeff Stryker, one of our board members, having a little fun. At the top right, Eli Baker was graduating, so he wanted to simulate a picture where I'm doing this like, "Get back here, young man," you know, that kind of thing. And so he's biking away from me. This was celebrating Mark Troyer's birthday. Everyone got a mustache and sent him a picture. And at the spring formal, I was holding a student for a picture, which nearly hospitalized me. But anything for students, right? So that was fun. I love our Asbury alumni. Again, just some images. Steve Benke, he is the CEO of the Lex Clinic. He was highlighted in a regional publication that was recognizing successful businessmen and women. In April of this year, Asbury Theological Seminary honored Dr. Alban Whitworth for his 40 years of ministry at Asbury Seminary, and they rededicated the McKenna Chapel organ after its recent refurbishment. And of course, we got to hear from Dr. Whitworth. It was amazing. There was a dedication ceremony in Louisville. This is Colonel Tom Loudon and Colonel Julianne. David Hogue is an Asbury alumnus. He is the president of the Council of Christian Colleges and Universities, the CCCU. Please pray for David. That is a heavy seat, an important seat. This is Asa and Allison. Allison is our state auditor, one of my favorite couples. They're just wonderful people. This was an opportunity to hear Dr. Bill Urey. Bill and his wife Diane spoke at our commencement this year. This was at Lake Junaluska. I said, "Dr. Urey, whenever you're speaking, I try to go out of my way to hear you. You're just one of the best speakers I've heard." And he said, "Then you haven't heard my wife." And he's right. She is amazing. Marcus Rickson, who spoke last year, was a young alum nominee for the CCCU. Speaking of young alums, this is a picture of an alumni luncheon for young alums we have every year at Indian Springs in Georgia, and a picture of Caleb Griffin. He does media for Tennessee baseball. They recently won a national championship. I was amazed at Lausanne when a testimony came up, and it was Andrea Baker, who's an alumnus. That was incredible. I'll talk more about Lausanne in a moment. While he's not an alumnus, O.J. Oleka at the bottom is one of our board members, and you heard it here first, future governor of Kentucky. And our board of trustees who come on our campus twice a year, they bless our students in so many ways, but we got to hear a panel as they talked about the abundant life to our students this last year. It was outstanding. I love the support of our alumni. Harvey Brown gave me this wonderful hat. Harvey, I'm going to wear it this summer. Balding people need hats like this. Thank you. Walt Shaw was kind enough to invite me to an utterly frigid Ohio State versus Michigan football game. The outcome did not turn out how he desired, but here's a picture of the Campbells. Maggie and Ben are here. Ben's parents are some of my favorite people. Just blessed, blessed people. We have Globetrotters, Thane Urey, Matt Luce at the top. This is Gabe Ernst, one of our recent grads. He is a missionary in Paraguay with World Gospel Mission. This is an ambassador recognizing the legacy and impact of the Rader family. And as many of you know, Dr. Rader passed away this last year. And then we have some students. This picture is just from a few weeks ago, students getting baptized in Puerto Rico. Love this picture of Ellie Higdon selling bracelets so that she could make a contribution to Asbury University. We love our future givers. That was really sweet and blessed me. And I'm thrilled that Andrea and Brady Nasfell are here. Andrea teaches screenwriting for us and some creative writing classes. They said, moving from LA to Wilmore was seamless because the two are just so similar. This was a picture of the premiere of Mr. Manhattan was last summer, the film that they did. I hope you'll check that out. It's absolutely outstanding. Let me talk quickly about campus life. There is nothing more energizing than just students doing fun things on campus, whether that's Friday Night Lights, this is a chili supper, this is Wham! Worship Him at Midnight. By the way, this is garnering between 600 and 800 students every time that they do it. We're also getting students from Transylvania and the University of Kentucky. Fully student-led worship. Amazing. This was a volleyball tournament this year, the conference tournament. I didn't know people could get so rowdy at a volleyball game. They can. And this is the Johnson Christmas Caroling, one of my favorite evenings of the year. We have the High Bridge Film Festival at the top, our Songs of the Season that we do now during December of every year, and our sales competition where we have very competent men and women come back and judge our students remotely through some really innovative technology that we have. And there's nothing like spiritual life on our campus. Coming to chapel. Here are some students who it's a worship team. They travel throughout the summer. And of course, our students were just utterly amazing during the outpouring. And here are just some images of some students having fun. Andrew Siemens, I don't know if he's also trying to impersonate Kevin Brown as well. We're not sure. But student dorm competitions, students being baptized in our retention pond. It's amazing. Here are some other images. The Ocho Games, if you're familiar with some of the dorm competitions. This is a midnight breakfast that we had during finals week. That was really fun. And this was some bull riding that was done before the start of the year. I showed up just to watch, and the students started going, Dr. Brown, So I was like, you know what, I'll try to ride the bull for the students. 2 seconds, that's how long. I just heard this groan for that was pathetic. These are images I love because I don't often take pictures of this because this almost feels like holy space, but you'll see this every day on this campus. You'll see staff getting in, weaving themselves into the fabric of a student's life. Staff and faculty having coffee with students, Bible study with students, helping, serving students. It's the best of us. The day we don't do that, we're not Asbury. It's the best of us. Here are some images of students sharing. Search competition. Aaron Groff sharing at one of our alumni events. This is a live reading from our Asbury Review, again put on by students. We have regular art exhibits. This is the International New Student Orientation. Of course, students at the Olympics. There's a family in town that does a treehouse concert each spring, and this is my man Luke Clark singing at that. That was wonderful. Let me dwell on this just a moment. If you've not talked to Jeannie Banter about our Set Apart retreats, they're truly transformative. A Set Apart retreat is an all-expenses-paid Christian worldview retreat where you come to campus, you get off campus, and you're going to be challenged to deepen your Christian faith. They're amazing. And I remember one of the first falls that we were doing this, I woke up in the morning, I had 30 texts on my phone. Actually, this wasn't one of the first falls, this was fall of 23. Students had returned late at night from those retreats, but they didn't go to bed. And they were going through the dorms, and they were just challenging other students to deepen their faith. Let's really do this. We're the ones. God is using this generation. Let's respond to what He is doing. Students were baptized that evening in our retention pond. Again, we didn't know anything about this. It's just truly amazing. This is an image from students in a dorm talking about their experience. The next morning, Josiah Whaling, who's here on the left, we had a chapel service, and I saw him at the back, and he just came up to me, tears in his eyes, and he just said, I am free. Amen. He didn't say anything else, but I knew what he meant. It was just an incredible testimony. By the way, that was a very unique chapel because Asbury chapels, sometimes an altar call is given after the message. No students waited for a message. After announcements were done that morning, students came to the altar. I'm not kidding. It was amazing. This is an image at the bottom right of Brendan Krebs, a recent graduate. I was having coffee with him. He said, I'm preaching tonight in the dorm. I was like, you're kidding. And so I went to hear him preach. Again, this was entirely student-led. This was not organized by the school. 2 students recommitted their lives to Christ that evening. And our students like to have fun. As a class project, a student created a video game where I wrestled Kermit the Frog. He asked if I would play it in chapel, and I respectfully declined because turns out it was a rather violent video of... But I won. I beat Kermit the Frog. And I was really pleased. I was in a snippet of a Highbridge film with Dr. Paul Nesselrode, and a student gave me a participation ribbon. I didn't know they still did that. I got a lot of those as a kid. So that made me really happy. And so I donned my participation ribbon when I prayed that evening. All right, this is my last category as I wrap up, and it's just this. I love Asbury. Let me say something about Lausanne. To really, for you to understand the impact of what I'm going to share, of how overwhelmed I was there, understand that this was billed as the largest global gathering of evangelicals ever. One person said, since Pentecost. There are over 200 countries represented, over 5,000 people there. I was there the day before, and I was invited to a luncheon by Dr. Billy Kim, who is the Billy Graham of South Korea. And he took my arm, and he was kind of walking me around to other people. And I didn't understand what he was saying, but he just kept saying, Asbury, Asbury, Asbury. The very first talk that was given at Lausanne, Asbury was mentioned. The second talk that was given at Lausanne, Asbury was mentioned. Then there was the testimony from Andrea. And then a request was made for a makeshift panel of men and women from Asbury to share about their experience of the outpouring. It was overwhelming. I said to Maria, look how God is using this little school in central Kentucky on this global, massive, historic global platform. Incredible. I love our campus. I don't just love how beautiful it is beautiful. Central Kentucky, spring and fall, I'd compare it to anything. Summer, but I love our campus. But it's not just beautiful, it's the peace. And it's interesting how often we hear from students who came, like, why did you come? And you want them to say, because of this academic program or this or this. But oftentimes, it is not uncharacteristic to hear a student say, I just knew this was where I was supposed to be. I just stepped on campus and I had a peace. I love our campus. I love our people. I took this picture. This is in Jennifer McCord's office. She's our VP for enrollment and strategic communication. And so 3 things here. At the very top, this is a demographic infographic about our students. It's about different characteristics of Gen Z. At the very bottom, these are financial key performance indicators. And in the middle, this was a note from her son who came to visit her, and he just wrote, I love you, Davis. And I love that she didn't erase that. I think it's just a beautiful picture of all the different things that we try to represent. This is the other duties as assigned category. Dr. Troyer mentioned we travel a lot together, and I love Mark, and Mark loves Asbury. So I get to see him in these very formal professional settings, and I get to see him untuck his shirt and change his tire too. So, and here he's painting our house that we have at Indian Springs. I love our students. I could spend a lot of time talking about each of these things. This picture at the bottom, that was a birthday gift. It was a big cutout of myself that I think some students are violating our behavior policy on campus by... Bottom right, some students regularly invite me to come and have wings with them, which I really enjoy. I love how invested our alumni are. Vic Hamilton sharing at the launch of our School of Christian Studies, no longer a department, or Carol Sue Ray speaking at our Golden Grad event and doing a Price is Right trivia. And not only do our alumni love Asbury, they show the love of Christ to the world. This was at Pablo Velasquez's church, New Life Community Church, which is a multi-ethnic church in Chicago. And Dr. Troy and I got to spend a day with Pablo there. I was so moved. I was just so moved by what is happening in that church. It's just one example of the incredible, faithful, God-honoring, neighbor-serving, salt and light work that our alumni do all throughout the world and in all kinds of different spaces. I was really blessed by that day. I love our cabinet. These are highly effective men and women. They are great at their job, but they love the Lord. They love this school. They love its mission. They love our students. We have a tremendous leadership team. I love how our I was behind. This is our cabinet. I love how our community cares. Let me just say this. There's been a significant amount of loss on our campus this year. I'll show an image of Humera Dale here, who lost her son. We had a memorial service for Lisa Moffett, her son. Kim Spillman lost her husband, who's in our advancement department. And then we lost Chuck Gobin, a faculty member. That's the first active faculty member we have lost since Winston Smith in the 90s. But I love these pictures of Humera, of how students have come around her to support her. This is at the memorial service for her son, and those are two students who waited probably 4 hours in line just to tell Humera how much they love her. Great students, great people. Okay, sorry. I love our board. I love our board. They love God. They love each other. They love Asbury. They love our students. We have an incredible board of trustees. I love who we are. I love how we are. I've talked before about her famous essay, Why Work? Dorothy Sayers suggests that the first demand the church makes upon a carpenter is that he should make good tables. We want to be excellent in the work that we do. This is a picture of our women's basketball team. This was 6 a.m. in the morning, and they were just going bananas. They were working so hard. The picture doesn't do it justice. So I sent Coach Mays a text. I said, your team's getting after it in the weight room this morning. I love it. And then he writes back, and he said, I believe God calls us to be different. So I don't think there are many teams in America who will work as hard as we do at 6:30 a.m. I love that. All right, 2 final slides. There is nothing I love more than seeing lives changed by deliberate and committed men and women who want to get into the web of a student's life and walk beside them in their growth and spiritual trajectory. You've heard my own testimony from college before, perhaps. It's just a time of intellectual, spiritual, social, and moral vulnerability. And men and women were kind enough to come beside me and shape the trajectory of my life. That's what we do, and it's what we do on our best day. A year ago, we were honoring a renovation of Glide Crawford, but we honored Kobe during that time. And Kobe Miller, I just thought, look at all of these lives who came to honor her, who have been impacted, who have her godly, holy thumbprint in their lives throughout generations. And I just thought, what a great life. What a great life, Kobe. The impact that you're making and the impact that you all make, especially on younger generations. It is worth it. There is just no greater investment. Here's my last slide. The number one question I have been asked since the outpouring is, what are things like at Asbury right now? And I've told a few folks jokingly, I want to say, well, everyone's wearing a monastic robe and holding candles and floating around singing hymns. I say it's great. It's awesome. Our campus is awesome. Our students are awesome. There's this elevated spiritual temperature. I hope we're never the same. But I point out, don't narrow your gaze to Asbury. I'm convinced, and I think the 2 years since the outpouring has been great evidence to this end, the Lord is doing something far beyond what's happening here just in central Kentucky in Wilmore, and he's doing something among Gen Z. Your investment in any way in the next generation, it's worth it. The Lord is using this generation. They are a hot wire of zeal and enthusiasm, and we need to plug that into an ecosystem of discipleship and spiritual maturation. What a tremendous privilege to do that. God is using this generation. Something is afoot throughout the world. So I deeply appreciate what happened here, but my prayer has been that in 5, 7, 10 years we'd say, that is nothing. That would be eclipsed by outpourings, plural, that the Lord is doing throughout the world. This is a picture painted by one of our staff members, Jeremy Simmons, and I just called it Hughes on Fire. I don't know if that was his name as well. We have a thing in our house, Elizabeth Barrett Browning. You may have heard this. She says, "Earth's crammed with heaven, and every common bush afire with God, but only he who sees takes off his shoes." If we had the eyes to see it, I wonder if that would be a better picture of the spaces we inhabit on a day-to-day basis, a place on fire with God's presence. Lord, give us those eyes. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you again, Dr. Brown, for just absolutely incredible leadership in this moment, in a time such as this. Like, we are so blessed to have him leading our university. So thank you again, Dr. Brown. So it has been an incredible privilege to serve on the alumni board. When I was a student here and I got to campus, it felt like home when I got here. It felt like the place that I had been looking for my whole life. And it has been an incredible journey on the alumni board to work with Dr. Brown, with the Reverend Dr. Esther Jadov, with Juan Gonzalez, and with so many of the other faculty and staff that are working so hard to make sure that every single student who comes to Asbury can feel like home here. And the work that they are doing, and it's been really cool with the alumni board to be alongside of them and to hear the stories of what it takes to look every student in the eye, no matter where they come from, no matter what their background is, so that when they step foot on this campus, they can be seen and say, "We love you, we are glad you're here, and we hope that you feel like this is your home." And so I have to pass my responsibilities, including my beloved gavel, to Meredith Shalene Turton, class of 2015, who will serve as our next alumni board president. Yay! So thank you all, and I hope you have a wonderful reunion, and the worship service will start. It was supposed to start in 5 minutes, but it will start in 3 minutes because somebody had too many slides, so it will start at 10:30.